Welcome back to today's video. In today's video, I'm going to be explaining why I think the Conservative Party of Canada will win the upcoming Canadian federal election. Before today's video, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below and like the video for more content just like this. And so in today's video, I'm going to be explaining why I think that the Conservative Party led by Pierre Poilievre will be beating Justin Trudeau and his Liberals in the upcoming Canadian federal election. Now, before today's video, I want to make sure to tell you that I am not 100% as good with Canadian politics, Canadian electoral politics specifically, as I am with US politics due to the fact that this channel primarily covers US politics. Although this is going to be the first time really that I have touched on another country's elections. I made an entire video touching on this election, and it is the Canadian federal election, as the US federal election obviously has passed, and it's been a couple of months since that time has occurred. Donald Trump obviously has retaken the White House about on January 20th, and so now I'm going to be talking about the Canadian federal election. Now, the Canadian federal election really will be coming up very soon, and most likely it will be occurring sometime in May. So, sometime in May, most likely it will be happening. And so, you really have your really your four major parties, and then you have your Green Party. So, you have your Conservatives led by Pierre Poilievre, and your Liberals led by Justin Trudeau, the New Democrats or the NDP led by Jagmeet Singh, the Bloc Québécois led by Blanchet. And so these are the four major parties. And then you have the Green Party at the bottom, and then the People's Party, which has not won any seats in 2019 or 2021. So mainly it's the Bloc Québécois, the New Democrats, the Liberals, and the Conservative Party. Taking a look at the last federal Canadian election, the last federal Canadian election happened in 2021. And in that election, the Liberals ended up winning 160 seats. The Conservatives ended up winning 119 seats. The Bloc Québécois won 32 seats. The NDP won 25 seats. And the Green Party won 2 seats. And so that was the result of the last federal Canadian election. And you can see the Canadian electoral map. And so the Canadian electoral map basically works differently from the United States electoral map in that basically, rather than saying that, for example, we say in the United States, for instance, that Wisconsin will vote for Trump or Kamala Harris. That's not how it works in Canadian politics. We don't say that a state or a province, rather, or a territory in Canada votes for a particular candidate. Rather, we split them up into districts in Canada. So you're seeing here in Canada that you have here a district right over here. So you can see some tiny districts, Toronto Metro District here, and you see this district that's right over here. This district right over here. Let me go ahead and zoom in there. Toronto. So you can see how small that district is, how small it is. So you can see that it's several districts, and it's essentially very similar to the U.S. House of Representatives. Very, very similar to the U.S. House of Representatives in that basically you have several seats representing a certain amount of the population. So in Canada, I think it's somewhere around 100,000 people per seat, and in the United States, it's like 750,000 people or so. So that's basically how it works. It's basically the U.S. House of Representatives. Now in Canada, going up into the next federal election, you're going to have 343 seats up for grabs. I believe 343 seats up for grabs. And in the last election, actually, we had 338 seats. And the reason for that was because of the fact that there was a census that was done in 2021 that added some more seats. But you can see here that the Liberals won the last federal election, and the Conservatives came in second. The Bloc Québécois came in third, and then the NDP came in fourth, and the Green Party came in fifth. And the Green Party is fairly irrelevant, along with the People's Party. The People's Party is more relevant than the Green Party because the People's Party really never gets any seats. So you're seeing basically all those factions there coming together. Now, what exactly do each of these parties believe in? Well, the Liberals are essentially the liberal party. I don't think I need to explain that to you. The New Democrats are essentially to the left of the Liberals, right? They're more of like the Bernie Sanders wing of the Democratic Party. And then you have the Bloc Québécois, which is, you can't really compare it to a U.S. federal party because there's no party that wants, like, for example, there's no party that wants like Texas or California to break away from the United States. They're kind of like the separatist party. So they're in favor of Quebec, and they want Quebec to break away from Canada. So that's important there. Now, let's go ahead and go down to the very bottom here. And you can see here that the Bloc Québécois, represented here in light blue, they're only in the lead really in one province, and that one province is Quebec. Now, remember, it's based on a seat tally. So if I could take a look at the seat margins, you can see here that in the seat margins, there's really only one province that they're in the lead in, and that is Quebec. In Quebec, they are expected to win 40 to 42 seats, according to CBC News poll tracker. So you can see that they're expected to win a majority there. Not a majority, maybe, but they are expected to win at least a plurality. They might win a majority. But you can see the only province they're really in the lead in is Quebec, because they obviously are trying to represent Quebec. And you can see in all the other provinces, I don't think they run any. I don't know if they run candidates. I don't think they run any candidates really in the other provinces. I don't think so. So they really are in Quebec there. So very interesting there. And so you can see there that happening. And also you have the Conservative Party and then the Green Party, which is the Green Party. And then you also have the People's Party, which was a party formed, I think in 2019. I think it was formed in 2019. It was formed because people thought that Andrew Scheer, who was the leader of the Conservative Party at the time, people thought he wasn't as conservative enough, and they basically wanted to form a new party, and that was the People's Party. It's kind of similar to like the Tea Party. Think about the Tea Party that formed in the 2010s in the Republican Party, obviously. Similar to that, you have the People's Party, hasn't really gained much traction whatsoever, led by Maxime Bernier, who actually I think he was a former I think he was a former conservative. All right. And then you have the Conservatives. Now let's take a look at the actual polling. So the Conservatives currently are at 44.8% in the polls. The Liberals are way down behind at 21.9%. The NDP, or the New Democrats, are at 17.6%. The Bloc Québécois is at 8.2%. The Green Party is at 3.8%. The People's Party at 2.9%. And then other parties, when you combine them, are at 1.1%. And so you can see here that you have many parties here in Canada. Even when you take a look at the Green Party is projected to win 3.8% of the vote, according to the polling averages. Obviously, in the United States, they win much less. So even parties like that obviously are winning more in Canada. Now, when it comes down to the actual issues, obviously most of the parties are liberal. So the Liberals Party are liberal. The New Democrats are liberal. The Bloc Québécois is a leftist separatist party, like a left-wing separatist party, and the Green Party is also liberal, right? So basically, I mean, if you were to combine all the liberal votes together, the Liberals would really be getting a majority, actually. But then again, there are specific issues. For example, the Bloc Québécois obviously are the separatist party, so it might be wrong to say that all their votes would directly go to the Liberals or the NDP. But when you really add it up, it is quite a big Liberal vote. Nevertheless, obviously, due to the parliamentary system, the Conservatives can win a very big majority just with 44.8% of the vote, which in the United States, winning 44.8% of the vote is not much. But in Canadian politics, it is a big thing. And so you're seeing what the projected number of seats for each party is. So you can see the Conservatives are projected to win 225 seats, the Liberals at 53 seats, the Bloc Québécois at 41 seats, the NDP, or the New Democrats, at 22 seats, the Green Party at 2 seats, retaining obviously their 2 seats that they already currently have. And so that's interesting. And then taking a look at these are like the likely ranges that you can have here. You can see the results of the election should fall within these ranges about 68% of the time. Now, in Canada, in order to win a majority, you need to win 172 seats in order to win a majority. So 172 seats is the magic number to win a majority. Now, you might be wondering then how come the Liberals were able to win without winning a majority of the seats? How come they were able to win? Well, the fact of the matter is the Liberals actually had a minority government. So in a parliamentary system, you either get a majority or a minority government. You never get a party that has a majority of this. You could get a party that has a majority of the seats, although a lot of times you have a party which has minority status. And so let's take, for instance, the U.S. House of Representatives. Easiest example, since most of you are very familiar with this. In the U.S. House of Representatives, we have 435 seats, right? 435 seats. Let's say to win a majority, you need 218 to win a majority. In Canada, it's 172, but let's say in the United States, 218, right? Let's say in the United States, we never really have a problem. Normally, one party is able to reach 218 in the duopoly. But that being said, let's say we had a third party. So let's say we had a new wing of the Democratic Party, the Bernie wing of the Democratic Party, rises up and builds its own party. And then you had the Tea Party wing of the Tea Party slash anti-war wing of the Republican Party builds up their own party. And let's say each of them were to win. Let's say the more far left and the far right were to win 5 seats each. Okay, 5 seats each. So let's say we had the Democrats, who were the mainstream Democrats, the Republicans were the mainstream Republicans. Let's say you had the Tea Party, and then you had the New Democrats. We'll say New Democrats for the Bernie wing. Let's say each of them were to win 5 seats and 5 seats respectively. Well, then let's say the election were to come and actually happen. Well, let's say the Republican Party as a whole, Republican Party, just the Republican Party, won, let's say, 215 seats, and the Democrats won 214 seats, and the far left and far right parties won 3 seats and 2 seats respectively. Did either party win a majority? No, but who ended up winning at least a plurality of the seats? It would be the Republicans in that case, right? And then the Republicans would have to work with some of the smaller parties or with the mainstream Democrats in order to get their legislation passed. And so you see that begins to happen there. Or even take, for example, the Senate, for instance. Bernie Sanders obviously is an independent. Um, so, for instance, let's say you had Bernie Sanders, who decided not to caucus with the Democrats. The Democrats won 49 seats, Republicans won 50 seats, and then Bernie Sanders is that one senator there. Did the Democrats win a majority? No, they sorry if they the Republicans would actually win in that case. But let's say you get the idea, right? If the Democrats had to win 49, 51, 49 seats, Republicans won 47 seats, and then some other parties won like 4 seats. Obviously, the Democrats would win a plurality, but not a majority. So you get the idea there with this plurality versus majority idea. So you see that beginning to happen. So 172 seats. Now, the Conservatives are obviously in the lead. And then you see the min and max for each party. You can see here, even in a min situation, the Conservatives are expected to win at least 180 seats in the minimum number of seats that they would win. Okay, so that's very important there. All right. So that's how that would be happening. And then you see here the Conservatives have a 98% chance of winning a majority government, a 2% chance that they win a minority government, a less than 1% chance the Liberals win the most seats, and then a less than 1% chance that the NDP wins the most seats. All right? And so you see that beginning to happen there. Now, you can see here how the divide began to happen. In around mid 2023 there, you can see that the Conservatives began to take a huge lead. Now, throughout this entire period, the NDP has really just stayed the same. So they've really just stayed the same the entire way through. The NDP has not changed whatsoever. And so this is very unfortunate for the NDP, rather, because what normally happens in Canadian politics is the Liberals are essentially considered to be the center-left party, and the Conservatives are considered to be the center-right party. And typically speaking, when the center left party, which is the Liberals, begins to decline, what generally speaking happens is the NDP, which is the far left party, would begin to rise. But what unfortunately for the NDP is happening is that they're not actually rising. They're basically staying stagnant. And so you might be thinking, yeah, the NDP basically they're just cruising along. Well, that's not necessarily good. They should be increasing due to the fact that the Liberals are decreasing. So when the Liberals are decreasing, they should be increasing. That's what actually happened in 2011 when Jack Layton, who was the then leader of the Democratic Party, New Democratic Party, when the Liberals began going down, led by Michael Ignatius, they began going higher. And so that was a very interesting phenomenon that we began to see in Canadian politics, where the NDP actually won around 100 seats in that election cycle. But in this election cycle, that does not seem to be occurring. Meanwhile, it looks like Liberal voters, rather, are flocking over to the Conservatives there. And even among the Bloc Québécois, they are not rising or really decreasing whatsoever. They're basically staying stagnant. The Green Party, it looks like, is actually like slightly rising. I don't know. Not really. Like, I mean, they're basically staying the same. The People's Party is actually going a little bit down now. They're going much more down, actually. And that's good for the Conservatives because the Conservatives are rising. The People's Party is going down, right? And then the other parties are just basically staying the same. So you're seeing that occurring there. All right. And now let's take a look here at. So I think it's pretty self-explanatory. The Conservatives are in the lead, even in a projected or likely or min slash max scenario. They are expected to win. It doesn't really take much whatsoever in order for them to win a majority. They are projected to win a majority. Now, obviously, you have a Liberal leadership race occurring, and Justin Trudeau is being replaced as a Liberal Party leader. He said on January 6th that within 90 days after a Liberal leadership race had occurred, he would be resigning as prime minister, which would be in February, March. It would be, February, March, April. So it would be, I think, April 6th, he would be resigning as prime minister and would allow a new Liberal, a little bit before April 6th, actually, a few days, I think a week before April 6th, maybe, right? A couple days before April 6th. So you see that there. They're occurring. Now, I think it would be around I think it would be around, I think it's March 26th, I believe, or somewhere around that. So just keep that in mind there. So Justin Trudeau obviously will be resigning once the Liberal Party is selected. And now there's several people who might be selected here. Now, the two people who really are in the wings here for leadership, you see here, most Liberal MPs has said they have party unity. President Donald Trump's tariff threats and the economy top of mind as they decide on the next leader. Most have rallied around two presumed frontrunners, former Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland and former central banker Mark Carney. Now, several others have made their intention to run for a Liberal leader, although there are basically two that are coming up in the top, Chrystia Freeland and Mark Carney. Now Mark Carney here, he has been Trudeau's economic advisor, I believe, since 2021 or 2020 or 2021. And he has had many roles. He's the former banker, I believe, of England. He's a very, he's been basically everywhere, I guess you could say, in some respects, right? He helped I believe, Canada subvert an economic crisis. Stuff people say that, at least I'm not going to make any definitive statements right on that, but you see that occurring. Now, who do I think is going to be selected? I think Mark Carney is going to be selected. You can see here roughly 20 MPs, which is basically an MP is similar to a House of Representatives. It's basically another term for that. Roughly 20 House of Representatives, you could say, I guess, are supporting Freeland, and more than 30 have lined up behind Carney. So I feel like Mark Carney is going to end up winning. And if I were the Liberals, I would pick Mark Carney. I don't know why 20. You would have to be really dumb to think that Chrystia Freeland is going to win the next, is going to even. I mean, the real question is not whether or not they can win, but rather who can do a better job. And I don't think the Liberals, led by Justin Trudeau, are going to do a good job. They're not going up for re-election, obviously, but even if they're led by Mark Carney, I think they're still going to end up losing. I think the impact rather is going to be minimized a little bit, but I still think they're going to end up losing. All right. And so that being said, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below and like the video. Comment down below for more videos if you want more videos covering Canadian politics, and write that on the comment section below. This is the first video that I have released, I believe, the first video that I've actually been speaking in since 2025. So the first video that I'm speaking in since 2025. 2025 obviously is going to be a huge year for the Trump administration. A lot of policy that's going to be rolled out. Obviously, he's already rolled out a lot of policy with the executive orders and stuff like that. On several policies, taking a look at, for instance, birthright citizenship. He's made a controversial executive order on that. He's done things with illegal immigrants, with the CBP1 app, with a lot of these issues that you're having right now, even pulling out of the Paris Climate Accords. A lot of these issues. So you're seeing a lot of things beginning to unfold in the United States of America. A general right-wing shift that you're beginning to see right now in Canada. So a general right-wing shift that you're seeing for quite some time here. And so if you like this video, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. It would be really helpful if you're able to subscribe and like to the video, and I'll see you in the next video.